Good evening and welcome to this week's edition of Credit Talk. Now, like I said, today we're going to get in shape to buy a home. So, why do you get in shape anyway? You get in shape to look better, feel better, and live longer. And we take that thing seriously, don't we? Nod, say yes, we do. We change our diet, we change our eating habits, we change how we work out, we change how we sleep, we change absolutely everything so we can look good, feel good, and live well. So why don't we do the same thing when we're getting ready to buy a house? So tonight we're going to talk about what you need to do to get in shape to buy a house. Okay, now before you start any type of exercise program, what's the first thing you need to do? Go see your physician. You want to make sure that everything in your body is working well right now so that when you start your wellness program, you have no issues. Okay, you go to the doctor, what's the first thing they do? They weigh you. How much do you weigh? Do we like that number? Probably not. Just like a lot of times we don't like that credit score, but we have to look at it. That's just part of the process. Number two, they take your temperature. They always take your temperature. Well, if that credit score is weak, your temperature is probably really low. So we definitely want to bring that up. What's the next thing they do? They take your blood pressure and all your vital signs. They want to make sure that everything is where it should be. So we need to do the same thing with our credit report. We need to take the temperature on our Experian, on our TransUnion, as well as on our Equifax. Once we take that temperature, we need to make sure that every single thing on all three of those reports, and really four in Novus, if you have a business or what have you, they have personal credit reports as well, but it's mainly for business. So if you're trying to do something in your business, you need to make sure that report is accurate, just like your personal. You want to make sure that number one, is your address correct? I think now they even give you free points for just updating your address. Take advantage of it. A point is a point. Then make sure that the spelling of your name is correct. You want to make sure that you are being reported accurately to all bureaus and they have the correct spelling of your name. Then you want to make sure about the line items on your credit report. Is it all right? Is it all yours? Did you open that account? Or better yet, did you close that account? Or do you just think you closed that account and it's still open? So you want to make sure that every line item on your credit report is accurate. You want to make sure they're reporting your payments on time. You want to make sure that you don't have any late payments. I cannot stress that enough. I think the saddest thing, or one of the saddest things I have ever seen, is when I take a client out and they're just really sure about everything on their credit report until we sit down with the on-site agent and they try to get you qualified. And it comes back as a denial because there were things on your credit report that you didn't know about or maybe you weren't sure about. But again, you got to get your credit in shape. You can't hide from it. I can't stress to you enough. Look at your credit report monthly. Each and every month, you need to make sure everything is being reported on your credit report accurately. It can cost you points if you don't, or you could gain points if it is correct. You want to make sure you're 100% in shape to buy a house. So let's say, for instance, you check your credit report and there's some things on there that are like not quite right, or some things you need to improve on. So what do? First of all, make sure that that is an accurate reflection of how you have handled that account. Did you pay your car note on time this month? Did you miss a payment? Do you have a collections that's outstanding? Well, I mean, it's not the end of the world if you do. You just got to handle it. Just like when you go to the gym and you look at that scale and it's like way over to the right. And you need to bring that way back over to the left. It's uncomfortable. It's probably not what you even want to see or deal with. But you have to look at the end goal. What do you want? Do you want to continue to be a renter the rest of your life? No, that's no fun. You want something of your own. Something where you can build a legacy. Something where you can gain equity. And something you could possibly pass on to your family. So you got to deal with it. Just like you got to deal with your weight. You got to deal with your credit report. Don't run from it. Don't hide from it. Don't ignore their calls. Don't ignore their letters. Be on a proactive side. If there's something on there that is incorrect, or either you feel like, gosh, I thought this had fallen off my credit by now, give them a call. Pick up the phone. You'd be surprised at the response you'll get from the other side when you just open the door for conversation. Nothing hurt for a conversation. They may even take something off the bill if you just pay it on time. If you give them a call and say, hey, okay, I know I owe this debt. I've owed this debt for a very long time, and I want to make it right because I want to get my credit in a better shape. Make a payment arrangement and stick to it. And as I have said in previous episodes, if that's what you're going to do, number one, get the name of the person you're talking to. Number two, make sure they validate that debt. And you can do that in the mail. There's a form you can fill out. Send it to them. It's like, okay, this is the name of the account. This is the account number. This is my name, my mailing address, so on and so forth. If you need help with that, I have a credit academy that you can join. And I'll work with you personally to get your credit into shape so that you can buy. But one thing I gotta have from you, number one, I gotta have your loyalty. And two, I need for you to be dedicated and committed to the process. Will it happen overnight? I'm gonna be honest with you, not likely. And you don't want it to happen overnight. You know why you don't want it to happen overnight? You don't want it to happen overnight because you don't want that debt to come back. There are some things called a soft deletion. You don't want that because it could turn around and pop up again at the worst possible times. And I've seen it happen. People getting ready to go to close. Guess what? Mortgage lenders will run your credit the day of closing just to make sure there are no new open accounts and that everything that you said was true really is true. And if that was a soft deletion on your credit, what are you going to do when that comes back on your credit and you are literally about to go to the closing table and don't have the money to pay that off? That's going to be a very, very uncomfortable moment for you. But it didn't have to. As I've said before, deal with it. If you deal with it on the front end, you don't have to worry about it on the back end. Just like student loans. Just because it's not on your credit report now doesn't mean you don't owe the debt. If you didn't pay it off or receive something from the Department of Education saying, hey, you no longer owe this debt, the end. That means it is in a system called CAVERS. And that is run by every lender, whether it be on the front end. Some lenders run it on the front end when they try to pre-qual you, or some will wait until you get into underwriting. I promise you, you much rather them run it on the front end. Because if you're already in the underwriting, that means you've got a house under contract. In your mind, you have already decided, okay, this is my house. I'm going to get this furniture. I'm going to do the backyard like this. You already looking for things to make that house your home. So you're emotionally, not just financially invested. And let me be clear. When you're that deep, that means you've already paid for a home inspection. You've already paid for an appraisal. So guess what? Those monies are not refundable. So that's something you'll have to live with. So please be sure when you're dealing with student loans, foreclosures, any type of federal debt, that you have satisfied that, number one, or number two, that you are in a payment arrangement with them and that you are making on-time payments. There is nothing more hurting than I get a phone call from the loan officer saying, hey, we're not going to be able to do this deal because this person had an outstanding student loan. Or this person, the seasoning period is not up on their foreclosure. Or they have an SBA loan that went bad. When you get to that point in underwriting, you want to be just literally mocking time, waiting on them to say, okay, we're clear to close. You can go to the closing table. This is what you need to bring. This is what you can expect. Once you sign the paperwork, wire your money to the closing attorney. You have a house. That's what you want to hear. So again, deal with it on the front end, because when it comes back on the back end, it's hard. Now we're going to talk about maintenance. Once you start getting in shape, you have to maintain that. It's not a turn on, turn off. You start going to the gym. Okay, I feel better. I done lost 10 pounds. I'm good now. No, it doesn't work that way. You have to maintain it. Just like you have to maintain your physical body, you have to maintain your credit. So, what do you need to do? You need to make sure, again, you're monitoring your credit report each and every month. You're making sure that all your accounts are being reported on time. You're making sure that you're not over on your credit utilization. We talked about that last week. You can have a credit limit of $1,200. Now, if you're using $1,200 a month, every month, that kind of gives mixed signals to your credit card company. They could view it one of two ways. Oh, this person pays their bill on time in full every month. That's a good thing. That's a very good thing. But if you're using 100% of your credit and you're only paying, let's say 30 or 40%, that's bad, because the credit card companies look at that as, oh, they really needed all of that money, all of it. I don't think they're responsible enough to maintain this card. So you know what they do? They lower your limit. You might have had a $1,200 limit on Monday, but look up on Wednesday, limit might be knocked down to $500, $600, if that. They could take it down to $200. They can do whatever they want to. They're extending you credit, not vice versa. So there is maintenance that has to be done each and every month. If you're using all of that credit, pay it off every month, every single dime. Now, if you're not trying to do that much and use all that credit at one time, please try to keep your utilization to no more than 30%. That's acceptable. You don't get dinged for it, and you don't have to look up one day and your credit limit be lowered to far more than what you had expected. So again, maintenance is everything. You have to maintain your appetite, maintain your credit. Nobody can do that for you but you. If you have to put everything on automated payments from your paycheck every month, if you know you're going to spend this much, already have that set up in the system so you can have all of those bills taken care of and not carry over and end up paying a lot of interest. A lot of credit cards now have very high interest rates. I've seen as much as 29.5%. That's a lot of money. If you utilize all of the credit that's on that credit card, it could take you a very long time to pay all of that off in full. And you're paying extra because you have the interest. So be careful with that. As I said, maintenance is everything. So now once we get in shape, we're maintaining everything. What's next? Then you can go to the next level. When you maintain your body, there are benefits. You feel better and you look better, so, ooh, I can buy some new clothes. That's a great reward to yourself. Same thing when you're getting in shape for a house. You've done what you needed to do on the first front side. You've taken the steps to go to the gym, get in shape, change your eating, change your sleeping, change how you live every day, eliminate the stress, remove some of the alcohol. You're doing your body good. Then you move on to the maintenance. You're making sure that you keep up these habits so that you can have a great body later. Then you get to the last part. You can buy new clothes. Well, when you get to the last part with your credit, you can buy a house. So when you go to submit your loan application, you don't have to worry about something coming up in CAIVRS on a student loan or any type of federal debt, because you took care of that on the front end. So now you have peace of mind on the back end. So when you go to the new homes, you're ready. Okay, yeah, sign me up. I want all the incentives. I'll use your lender and have peace about it. That's what you want. That's how you get in shape to buy a house. But as I said before, you got to take the first steps. You've got to do your maintenance. Once you take care of those things, the last step will take care of itself and will take care of you long term. You can buy a house, peace of mind knowing your credit is at an acceptable level. And when you're that good, you get all the better deals. You're going to get the better interest rates. You're going to get the maximum amount that you can even qualify for a loan. That will make you feel good long term when you go to closing and know that you took the steps that was necessary to get in shape to buy a house, and now you're a proud homeowner. So once you buy the house, what's next? You continue to do the same thing over and over. Take the first step, do the maintenance, reap the rewards, over and over, every year. You don't get away from it just because you get in the house. Once you get in the house, you still got to maintain the house. Interest rates might have been at a 3.5 when you purchased. Well, now you've been in there 3 years. You want a refi. You want a lower interest rate equaling a lower payment. But again, if you've taken those maintenance steps, guess what? You'll get the better interest rates. You might go from a 3.5 to a 2.1. That is phenomenal. But that's only because you stayed in shape. Not just got in shape. You maintained it. This is all for tonight for Credit Talk on getting in shape to buy a house. I would love to work with you to get you in shape to buy a house. If you would like to be a part of my Credit Academy where I work with you one-on-one, please feel free to give me a call. You can reach me at 770-771-9962. I'd love to help you to get in a house, maintain it, and even be in a position to one day buy investment property to build up your portfolio. That's all for tonight. I look forward to seeing you again next Wednesday night at 8:30, where we will have more credit talk, maintaining your shape and getting you into a home. You have a great weekend, and I'll see you soon.